Hi guys, welcome to Scorched Earth Tarot. This is going to be a general reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon and Ascendant for the month of December. If you don't know what your Moon or Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. Equally, if you would like a personal reading with me, that information is down there along with my social media links, Facebook and Instagram. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for the support. I'm truly humbled by how swiftly the channel is growing. It's far exceeded my expectations. So that's incredible. And if you're new to the channel, I hope you find something here for you. And I'd love it if you consider subscribing. What else to tell you? Not much, I don't think. I'm not very well at the moment, so that's why my upload schedule has been a bit, it's gone awry somewhat. I've got a horrible throat thing, and so is one of my children is off lying on the sofa downstairs, but I wanted to get these out before the 1st, so dosed up to the eyeballs with painkillers, and hopefully that should be sufficient to see us through this reading at least anyway. So with all that said, let's get on with your reading. Can I have 3 cards for Aries for the month of December, please? Whoa, one flipped. We've got the 10 of Swords. Interesting. It's air energy, the end of a cycle. For those who haven't seen me before, I like the cards to jump. I don't take them when they drop to the right. Just so you know. So, 2 more cards for Aries, please. There's the second one. Got the Knight of Cups. An interesting pairing. That's water energy. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. And one more card, please, for Aries. That's the one. Queen of Swords. Interesting. No fire here. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Page of Swords. Could be news, could be information that's coming to you of some description. Which deck do I want to use? Had a bit of a mishap a few days ago, and the turret leaked again. I didn't learn my lesson the first time, and I lost my Triple Goddess deck, which has wounded me greatly. So, because that's probably the deck I use second most often, I think. We'll use the Crow. I do love this deck. If you haven't seen it before, it's absolutely exquisite. Right. Why is the 10 of Swords here for Aries, please? Oh, 3 of Swords has come out to clarify. One more for the 10 of Swords, please. Ooh. And the 3 of Pentacles. Okay. Get a few more cards. Why is the Knight of Cups here, please? 10 of Swords again. Why is the Knight of Cups here? King of Pentacles. It's earth energy. Cancer, Pisces, what? Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. That's what I was trying to say. I knew it started with a C. Why is the Queen of Swords here, please? Got Strength, and the card that's flipped down here is Death. Strength is the card of Leo, Death is the card of Scorpio. I'm not going to take it because it didn't flip. It didn't jump, merely flipped. So, why is the Queen of Swords here, please, for Aries? Hierophant, Page of Cups, and the 9 of Pentacles there, but they didn't jump, so why is the Queen of Swords here, please, for Aries? 6 of Swords. This is a very sword-heavy reading, Aries. Where's the Lovers? going to pull one more card for that, because for me the Lovers is a choice. It's the card of Gemini as well, but it's a choice. So I don't like to end it on there. We've got the Three of Wands reversed and the Ace of Wands, even though I only wanted one card. Two dropped out, two flipped out rather. Well, the Seven of Pentacles on the bottom of this deck. That's earth energy again, but it speaks to me of assessing effort and work that you've put into something and seeing whether now is the time to cut your losses more often than not. So, Aries. I don't know if this is the same group of Aries that I've been connecting with over the last few months, because it feels like it's quite different in tone to what we've seen before. Maybe an entirely different group, but we'll go through it. No doubt you'll work out pretty swiftly if it's for you. So the first card that we've got is the Ten of Swords, and it's air energy. This is Gemini, Aquarius and Libra. And the swords are all about words and communications and thought processes and all that sort of thing, you know, communication. But in the 10, which is the very top of the pips, goes from the Ace to the 10, we see a figure lying face down on a rock. And in this depiction, the water is swishing all over her. And as we know from the tarot, like, water is emotions. And these swords are all around her. She's lying as if dead. It's a card of, it can be a card of betrayal, humiliation, deep, deep pain. It's a card of hitting rock bottom, really, is what it is. I mean, you cannot really get any lower than face down on a rock, you know, covered in seawater and stabbed with 10 swords. But because it's a 10, it's the end of a cycle. And that's the important thing to remember about this, because we all hit those points where we feel like we are done, you know. And it's at the hands of somebody else, more often than not. The sky is dark and it's quite a depressing scene. In the Rider-Waite, in this standard deck that everybody understands and at least recognise, there's light in the distance. It's the coming of the day. And what we take from that is that once you've hit rock bottom, there is nowhere to go but up. And interestingly, in this one, there is no light. So to me, it suggests that the coming dawn, you know, the improvement, the only way to go being up has not yet hit at this point. You know, this is someone very much still in the depths of betrayal, humiliation, you know, backstabbed behaviour from other people. You know, it's wounded almost to the point of death, actually. It's a very grim scene. And because of the amount of water there, there's a real emotional aspect to it, I think. And then it's clarified by the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords is, on the Crow Tarot, it's absolutely exquisite, actually. You know, it's a heart and it's pierced by 3 swords. It's heartbreak, it's wounding at the hands, possibly of somebody else, but sometimes of ourselves. It's a real visceral scene. And sometimes it can indicate a third-party situation, you know, a relationship that should have had 2 that actually had 3, and in the end, one flew off to be with that third person. And to be honest, it's a fairly natural card to follow, the Ten of Swords. But whichever way round it is, whether it's a third-party situation or it's just a wounding or a betrayal, you know, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It can be in all spheres of life. You've been left feeling in this state, and it's It's followed up by the Three of Pentacles. Now, I don't usually read the Three of Pentacles as a third-party situation, but we've got 2 threes here, and it feels a bit like the meaning is clear. You know, the Three of Pentacles is a card that talks about working with other people to create something solid, to build something that will last for a very long time. And it feels to me like that had been your intention. That is what you went into this relationship to do. And this person betrayed you, this person hurt you, this person brought someone or something in to the relationship which meant that it could not continue as you had envisaged. You know, there are only 2 crows depicted on both cards, but there are 3 pentacles and there are 3 swords. This is your heart right here, that I'm absolutely certain. And when I say third party, it can be, you know, another woman, another man, something like that. But it can equally be somebody prioritizing their work over their family, you know, prioritizing the work over the relationship. It can be to resort to cliches, but it can be, you know, the mother-in-law interfering. It can be a family member of some description, you know, putting their oar in all the time, or even a friend who is just constantly, doggedly, you know, doing this that you were trying to build down to the point where the other person in the relationship, or even you, has gone, I cannot do this anymore. I can't do it. And I'm overwhelmingly sad looking at it, actually. That's where you have been. You haven't been able to see the light. You haven't been able to see. But it's a 10, so it's the end of a cycle, and it feels like it was something that you were supposed to experience, you know, and with these brutal life lessons that we get, often it's about building yourself up stronger than you were before so that you can go forward as an improved version of you. Whatever this situation was, something about it wasn't right, and you have suffered as a result. I see that very clearly. The card that you've got next is the Knight of Cups. And usually this is a fairly glorious card. You know, this majestic knight, you know, on his white horse is bringing a cup of, you know, of love, of loving words, of loving emotions. And he's, you know, he's got this big dramatic cloak on, which is green, which is also, you know, associated with love. It's the colour of the heart chakra. But to me, this feels like a little bit of a triumph of style over substance, actually. Like, I always find the Knight of Cups to be a little bit wet anyway. It's a dreamy kind of fantastical depiction of you know, a man possibly coming towards you with, you know, words of love. It could be a Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio that you've been dealing with, potentially. But it doesn't have to be. It also doesn't have to be a man. But there's a certain dreamy quality to it, you know, of fantasy, I would say. But normally he comes with good intentions, yeah. But I cannot help but feel that maybe you fell for some pretty words here. But when it comes to it, you know, that it was quite two-dimensional. When it came to delivering, it wasn't there. You know, the words didn't back up the proffered cup. And to clarify, we've got the Ten of Swords. Again, that's twice in one reading that it's come out. And this one, you know, again, it's the Crow Tarot. But look at that bird, pierced at every point, lying bleeding on the floor. I'm coming out to clarify this, which is it does. It makes me feel like you were taken in by these words. You have been taken in by these words. You were taken in by the knight in shining armour, the way he came along. He because it's a knight. It doesn't have to be a he, even a she. But ultimately, it came to a fairly savage end. And it's another one, this is another depiction of the Ten of Swords, where the light is not shining, the sun is not rising, you know, you're not turning your face towards the emergence of a new day. You are still very much speared to the floor, and you cannot see a way out. It's painful. Two of these swords are pushed in even further than the others. Which makes me think that there's possibly another person involved to wound even harder. And then you've got the King of Pentacles. Now that's Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. And it's the pinnacle of the suit. It's the masculine presentation of the energy associated with the earth suit. So this could be a person, or it could be an energy. And the Pentacle suit is preoccupied with things of the material, right? And that's not necessarily in a bad way. It's resources, it's jobs, you know, it's earning the money that keeps the roof over your head. It's earning the money that provides the things that your family needs to survive. At its most basic, you know. As it goes on, it can talk about those luxuries that make your life a nice place to live, you know, all that kind of thing. But in its shadow aspect, it's someone who is entirely focused on the material. You know, it's somebody who does prioritise work over everything else. It's somebody who prioritises their status and their position and the elite nature of what they do over any relationship that they have. You know, maybe you saw this person as somebody who was going to come together with you and help you build a little empire for you and your family. You know, maybe you were going to have a family together. And don't forget, just because it's a king, it doesn't mean it's a man. It's just the top of the suit. So what we're talking about here is a provider. I quite often show up as the King of Pentacles in my readings for me personally, but I'm a single parent, so, you know, that's the thing. But these two cards have come out under here. So this is what you were shown. This is what you were working on, you know, the assumption that you were working on, because you took this cup that was offered to you and you thought it had substance. But this is what you've been left with. And I think there's been a really important lesson in here for you. Maybe your relationship was a little bit codependent, you know. I'm going to pull some clarifiers for that. I'm sorry if I'm sounding a little bit like... Like I said, I'm a bit unwell. What? Let's have a look. I'm not a huge fan of the King of Pentacles, I have to say, in any of its guises. I think he of all the kings walks a very narrow line between his good and his bad aspects. I want to say bad shadow. Yeah. I always think he seems a little bit pleased with himself, certainly in the standard depiction, but you know, even here, you know, it's a bit showy, it's a little ostentatious. Why is the King of Pentacles? Fuck. Okay, yeah, so I don't know if I said, but I thought a minute ago, I'm quite surprised that I didn't see the Magician here. Here he is. For me, the Magician, when he's twinned with a court card, and particularly this combination here, that always puts my back up, because the Magician is an incredibly powerful card, right? It's an incredibly powerful ability to manifest things. You know, he's broadly positive. But when he is twinned with a court card of any description, and particularly the Knight of Cups, I have to say, overwhelmingly, the Knight of Cups. The reason that he's so powerful is that he understands all of these elements that he has here, right? He has all of these tools at his disposal. And he can manipulate them, not in a pejorative term, manipulate them to create anything that he wishes to manifest into the 3D. When it's combined with a court card, this for me is somebody who can manipulate in the pejorative sense and say, particularly with the Knight of Cups, say what he thinks you want to hear, what you need to hear to allow him. And again, tarot is not about gender. I'm going to say this again, I'm just saying it because it's the king. To allow them to get what they want, to manifest into their reality what they want. And here we are. The other card that came out is the Three of Swords. Again, like, you are so wounded because you were taken in by a manipulator. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think, given that we've got the Three of Swords twice here and the Ten of Swords twice here, I don't think that this is going to come as a surprise to you. You already know this. This is a nasty energy. That I find almost more upsetting, because that is somebody who says the words that your heart wants to hear because it gets them where they want to be. But it's empty words. Remember I said that it seemed a little bit flat, a little bit two-dimensional. Well, here we are, right here. You got taken for a ride by somebody who was potentially looking to improve their own material position off your back, and it's left you in an absolute state. At the bottom of the deck here we've got the Wheel of Fortune, and that talks about fate. Herein was an important lesson for you. Like, I don't think that you'll be taken in by somebody like this again, for sure. You learned something, but you learned it in the hardest and most brutal way it's possible to learn anything. I'm so sorry that's happened to you. I feel quite nauseous. The final card that you've got for December is the Queen of Swords, and I feel like this is your energy, because we've got a lot of swords here. We've got the Three of Swords twice. We've got the Ten of Swords twice. I feel like this is you. And what you are doing, I think, in the month of December is plucking each one of those swords out one by one. Each one of them. And throwing them away. You're not there yet. Neither of these cards are depicting the dawn that's coming. And it will come. Things will improve. But I don't think that you feel like that just yet. But you're going to get there. And in the month of December, you're going to make great strides towards that. Because this woman here, some claim she's a little bit cold, and she can be. She's driven by reason and by logic. You know, she's very intellectual. She could be an air sign woman or man around you. You know, so that's Libra, Aquarius, Gemini. But if not, and I don't think it is, I think it's your energy, actually. I think you're going to pluck all of these swords out of you, and you're going to keep one, and that is the truth there. Because for me, upward pointing swords are good. Downward pointing swords are bad. Right? Down, down, up. This is the Ace of Swords. This is truth. This is integrity. This is honour. This is clarity of expression, clarity of thought, clarity of communication. But this Queen takes away emotion from situations, and she looks at them logically. You know, this is a card of a woman who's learned her lesson, possibly delivered by somebody that you thought was your soulmate. And there are so many mountains in the background. You know, there've been a lot of challenges here, and this is part of that. But you're going to look at it, and you are going to move forwards, take the lessons, put them all in the right place in your head. Like, if she'd come out upside down, I'd be worried that you were clinging onto it too hard and you were becoming bitter and all that kind of thing. But she's not. She's come out in the upright, which means she's moving forwards with integrity, learning the lesson, moving on, being just. This Queen holds quite a binary position on things. You know, things are either true or untrue, just or unjust, you know, good or bad. You know, there's no grey area here with the Queen. And I think that you are, if you're maybe stuck, impaled to the floor at the moment, you're going to pull yourself free of that and get out of the grey area, the incredible wounding that you're sitting in here at the moment, and straighten up your crown and move forwards. The first two cards that came out to clarify that was Strength and the Lovers. Now, it's possible, because we've got that heart at the bottom, that same heart I'm drawn to there. And it almost looks a little bit like these crows are feasting on that heart, which is not usually how I interpret this. And there's a snake above the crows, which is, I associate with knowledge and that sort of thing. It could be that this other person, if there were one, is a Leo. That's a possible thing. And so these two cards here would talk about you seeing the situation clearly for what it is, and having your heart feasted on a little bit more, potentially. Or it could have been a Gemini, actually. It could have been a Gemini, and I'll bring you back to that. Or this coupling that you have had, which has ended badly for you particularly and left you feeling very wounded, is a lesson that is building your inner strength of character, you know, your core. I read a thing the other day and it said that true strength wasn't... Oh shit, how did it go? I cannot remember. Ill head. It was something along the lines of, you know, true strength was not being able to hold everything together when it was falling to bits. It was being able to trust that you would be okay, even if things fell to bits. And that's what the strength card talks about here. You know, this it's another 10. You know, we've got lessons going on here. There was something that you needed to learn from this, and you are learning it. You're taking it on board because you're building up that strength, and the lesson came for you from this, from, you know, I'm going to go with romantic relationship because the hearts are all over here. You know, it was certainly something that you were invested in, and you've been betrayed, you've been humiliated. You feel like, I would go as far as to say this probably has not happened to you before on this sort of level. And I'm going to say that because these two are out here. I feel like you really threw yourself into what this was because you were manipulated. And that's why it's ended so badly. So those are those two there. But then we've got the Three of Wands in reverse and the Ace of Wands. Now, the Three of Wands this way, for me, it can talk about travel, potentially. But in the Crow Tarot particularly, I note that these three wands here are building a bridge. You know, and there's this huge torrent of emotion behind here, you know, and it's trying to form a bridge between one thing and another. So it can talk about reconciliation for me. It can talk about, you know, trying to bridge this gulf, you know, that is about to be filled with, you know, overwhelming emotion and stuff like that, possibly wash them away. But it's come up this way around. And I like this combination of cards together. There will be no reconciliation. There will be no building of a bridge. You're not going to do it because the Queen of Swords is in charge here. You know, and maybe this person, this awful person here, maybe they're coming back with an apology. Maybe they are wanting you to try and fix things together with them. You're not having it. You are not having it. at all. You know, the only fire card on here is strength. And for me, like, I love this card. I'm a Leo. Like, I love it. But it does make my heart sink a little bit, because the reason Leos are so strong is because they suffer quite a lot sometimes. You know, that's the way they build up that inner strength. And now you, Aries, have the same thing to do. But you've got your head screwed on about it, right? You're not going to allow a bridging from this position to this, because too much has happened. Too much water has gone under the bridge. There it is. And you've got the Ace of Wands. It's fire energy. So, you know, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And it almost looks to me like there's a river of lava here, actually. As opposed to this one here, where there's water. It's about to throw the, you know, wash these wands right out of the way. This looks like a river of lava to me. But the Ace talks about inspiration, you know, passionate new things. There can be new hobbies and stuff like that, absolutely. But I feel like it's a new way of living your life. I think that you have learned a very hard, very brutal lesson, and you're not going to allow that to repeat. Certainly towards this person, your river of water and emotion and stuff like that has turned to lava. If they come anywhere near you, they're going to spontaneously combust under your, you know, passionate new movement forward that excludes them, absolutely excludes them. Let me get another card for that. Ace of Cups. Now, normally I say this is the love of, it's new love. It's love for, you know, someone or something else. But combined with the Ace of Wands here, I feel like this is a love for yourself. I think this is a renewal of respect for yourself. You know, taking those lessons that you've learned, not making the same mistakes again, ever, and moving forwards. You know, as I said with the Queen, moving forwards relentlessly. You are not going back. You are not building bridges. You are moving forward in fire, your element. You're doing that. But I feel like this is absolutely love for yourself. You know, a rediscovery of your self-respect, you know, possibly. It's one cup, one ace. It's you. It's your self-worth. It's your ability to rely on yourself. I love it. Right. I'm going to pull a couple of cards for advice, although I'm confident that you've got this in hand, Aries. What a dick. I hate the Knight of Cups and the Magician together. Actually makes my stomach turn. Because it's not accidental. You know, the presence of the Magician for me says that that was absolute deliberate manipulation, and it makes me sick that people behave like that. Now, have some advice for Aries, please, for the month. That's a good one. Have some advice for Aries, please, for the month of December. I might take that because it flipped rather than jumped. The first card that came out for advice is the Hermit. It's card number 9 of the Major Arcana. And it's the card of Virgo. And there's a snake on there as well, actually. I'll just draw your attention. Snakes, wisdom, knowledge. And the Hermit talks about the fact that all the answers that you need for any question that you might have about this entire situation, they're there inside you. You know, you need to reflect on what has happened and what you have learned, and try and work out why. Like, this is the biggest thing. Like, when a relationship breaks down, particularly if someone's acted in a shitty way, like this. It's very easy to go, I was taken for a mug, you know, like I did everything right, they did everything wrong, it's not my fault, stuff like that. True empowerment comes from looking at the situation and going, yes, they fucked up. I tried to behave to the best of my ability, you know, in a loving and true way the whole time. But there were flags, there were things that happened that I let go. You're stopping that now. Yeah. You can only truly learn a lesson if you can get to the point where you accept your responsibility for it. And at some point, you know, sometimes all that responsibility is just going, I didn't actually have any boundaries. I let this person trample all over me. And with hindsight, with reflection, I can see where all of that happened. But I didn't see it at the time. Maybe that was the lesson that needed to learn. I have one more card for Aries advice. There it is. Judgment, which is a card of Scorpio. Number 20 in the Major Arcana. One more advice, please. Got Judgment and the Eight of Wands. And the Eight of Wands is it's more fire energy, it's you. It talks about swift incoming communication. I think this person, maybe a Scorpio, possibly. I think this person might actually try and wheedle their way back in. And the advice here is do not even slightly entertain it. I mean, you do you, because you know better than anybody else. But what I'm seeing here is a lot of introspection. I'm seeing a lot of cutting out of you know, well, I was going to say bullshit, I won't say bullshit. Yeah, cutting out of all that kind of behaviour. If they come and try and wheedle their way back in, you know what to do. But the advice certainly down here is do not even entertain it, not even a bit, you know. Use your own good judgment about what you think, your own good judgment about what you think your route forward is. But I honestly think, you know what your route forward is, because you've got two aces there, you know. Things may look bleak for now, and they are. This is pain, and I'm seeing pain all over this reading. But you can rebuild, and you will rebuild stronger. And this won't ever happen to you again. You won't let it happen to you again. All right, Aries, I'm going to leave it there. I'm so sorry for what you've been through recently. It's really sad, really, really sad. Please like the video if you're still with me right here and this has resonated with you. Or, you know, like the video, leave a comment, whatever, or even message me. Like, it's entirely up to you. And I will see you for the December mid-month.